Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't usually do stuff like this, and it's not something I plan to do in the future, but something's hit me very close to home, and I wanted to talk about it. And that is Final Fantasy VII. Now, a lot of you who will have seen like E3 back in June and recently at the PlayStation Experience would have seen, obviously, that there is a remake. And when I saw that E3 trailer back in June, you know, that big entrance there and all that crap, and it would look so good, and I was so excited, and I thought I was going to poo my pants, and I nearly did. Okay, I did, alright, don't judge. But that excitement has been dampened extensively for me as PlayStation Experience, which was the weekend, so not very long ago, showed that things aren't quite what I want them to be. So Final Fantasy VII was a massive part of my childhood. Obviously it's an old game back on the PlayStation 1. I played the ever-loving crap out of that. It was my first like big, expansive, there's a lot of people's first big, expansive RPG experience. We had this crazy turn-based, like almost frantic turn-based action. And it's just so much fun. I've owned it on PlayStation 1. I've owned it on PlayStation 3, PC, now PlayStation 4. I absolutely adore Final Fantasy VII, and one of the major things that was shown at PlayStation X was the combat. Now, as you can clearly see, that's not turn-based. The fuck you doing, Square Enix? Where is my turn-based combat? Where is it? Now, for me, as a huge Final Fantasy fan, the turn-based combat was something I loved. I think the best combat in the entire series was in Final Fantasy X, which was turn-based. You could see what was happening. It was very strategic, very in-depth. But you had time to collect yourself and know what you were doing. It looked awesome. It was fantastic. And then they started going downhill when they decided that turn-based wasn't the way forward, and they would start going for these action RPGs. Like 13 was okay because you had the in-depth of the paradigm system. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just phase out all the shit I'm saying. But Final Fantasy VII, they've gone sort of down the route of Kingdom Hearts almost. And if you've never played Kingdom Hearts, very, very good game, but it's a children's game. The combat was for children. There's no depth to it, none. Well, it's so frantic and so action-based, you can't have the depth to it. And I'm seeing that in Final Fantasy VII now, and I can understand why they would, to make it more accessible, to make it with the times, but it's Final Fantasy. It doesn't need to be with the times. I think this is... okay, the game looks amazing, and it looks awesome, and the limit breaks look amazing, which is shown in the combat that I showed earlier. But they've taken like one of the core aspects of why I enjoyed Final Fantasy games and shat on it. Like the depth, the strategy is gone. Obviously I don't know how it's going to work, but I just can't see it still having the same depth as when it was a turn-based game. I can't see it having any sort of strategy to it at all, other than mashing X or mashing A to try and slap things with your attack, and every now and then throwing out a spell when you've got a moment that you're not being slapped when you're trying to run away from things. It's not for me. I don't think it's going to work, personally, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so the thing that even worse than the combat, or even more than the combat, that has been unearthed is that Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be released in multiple segments now. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw my displeasure at that, and so a few people replied saying, "But Gems, the original game came out on 3 discs." Yes, it did because of space constraints, but you got all 3 of those discs at once. You know, you didn't buy each disc individually; you got them all. And the worry is that is this just another money grab? Because you know you've got probably one of the most hyped games ever, arguably, of course, but releasing it in multiple stages like some kind of Telltale game, or like Final Fantasy 13, which was 3 separate stories, you know, is it just seems like a bit of a money grab to me. They could fit it into one game. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII is a very big game, but to fit it into 3? Like, what's being sacrificed there besides their dignity? And also, what does that mean for the game? Because obviously, if you've played Final Fantasy VII, you get your party and you're going through all these games with this party that you lovingly build up and create, and you're adding materia to them, and you're customizing this awesome party that you have throughout the entire game. How's that going to work across multiple games? Like, we don't even know how many games, we don't know how much they're going to be. They have announced that each installment is going to be the size of a full game. How's that going to work? Because, you know, from what we've seen so far, all we've seen is Midgar, Cloud and Barret. So is this what we're to expect for the first installment? Just Midgar? Just Cloud and Barret? Maybe Tifa? I mean, how's this going to work? I don't think it's going to work, personally. My hopes are not high for the remake. Obviously, I'm going to leave links down below so you can read more about it, because I'm not the font of all knowledge. It's just my opinion. And of course, everyone's opinion differs, and you can comment down below, tell me what your opinion is. But personally, I think the combat is ruined, because I've played Final Fantasy 15, demo, I've played Kingdom Hearts, I've played Dissidia. I know that combat. I really don't like it. I just really don't like it. Obviously, that's very, very much a subjective thing, but I think that's just ruined one of the core aspects of Final Fantasy VII, and the tacticalness. Is that even a word? Tacticalness? The strategy of the combat. And then, of course, this multi-part thing, which if they're saying is because of space issues, or because of how big the game is going to be, but I don't think that's quite it. Especially not in this day and age where, you know, you can fit 100 gig on, like, a terabyte onto a tiny little thing like that. But still, again, that's just me. I'm not a font of all knowledge. I don't know everything there is to know about these things. Personally, I don't think it's going to work. I am not hyped for this, and I'm a little upset at the way they've gone with this. And I'm sorry for this huge rant about a game, but this is very close to my heart. This is a big part of my childhood growing up, and I was very, very, very much looking forward to this when the E3 trailer was shown. I just wanted to talk about it and let you guys feedback and let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye, everybody.